It's a mechanical sculpture inspired by wind and built to echo flight.
Pagani is definitely the jet fighter of the hypercar world.
A hypercar that's equal parts high performance and artistic masterpiece.
It's a one man's vision, and you see that in every single part of the car.
Ultra exotic art that comes with an ultra hefty price tag.
And there are expensive cars, and there are really expensive cars, and then there are cars that cost well over $1 million.
Art and engineering that transcend the realm of the supercar.
He's taking it to the next level where he's setting his supercar apart by trying to make it as perfect as possible.
A piece of automotive perfection called the Pagani Huayra. Nothing about this car is ordinary. Its engine cranks out 730 horsepower, almost double most sports cars. It has a top speed of 372 kilometers per hour, 1/3 the speed of sound. It costs 850,000 euros, nearly 34 times the price of an average car. The Pagani Huayra is one of the most exotic hypercars ever built, and it's all a dream of just one man.
My name is Horacio Pagani. I'm chief designer at Pagani.
In the small Italian town of San Cesario sul Panaro, Horacio Pagani is leading an automotive renaissance.
For the last 125 years of the automobile, the most special cars have come from the visions of one man.
Horacio Pagani really fancies himself an artist as much as an engineer.
It's one guy, and it's his vision of a supercar, and it's a world crowded with supercars.
This is the home of Pagani Automobili, where Horacio Pagani has set out to do the unthinkable, build his very own supercar company.
Pagani kind of came out of nowhere, much like Lamborghini did many, many years ago.
In 1999 at the Geneva Auto Show, Pagani takes the world by storm when he introduces his very first car, the Zonda.
I was at Geneva Motor Show, the quintessential automotive show amongst all the car exhibitions, with a car designed, built, and planned by me.
The machine wows critics and car fans alike.
All of a sudden, here's this car that's so great to look at and to listen to and observe and touch and feel that it captured the imagination of car people all over the world.
The Zonda is an ultra-lightweight, mid-engine exotic, featuring a hand-built Mercedes-Benz AMG V12. The machine becomes a poster child for a new automotive term, the hypercar.
I'm very pleased that because of the Zonda, a new category has been created, the hypercar.
For years, the number of machines capable of breaking the 300-kilometer-per-hour barrier was small. And for good reason. At that speed, a car covers the length of a football field nearly every second.
Supercars back in the 80s could do 150, 180 miles an hour maybe. Now your standard supercar will do over 200 miles an hour. We've started using the term hypercars.
One of the cars that helps define the new term is the Pagani Zonda.
Until the Zonda, hypercars didn't exist. After the Zonda, we now have the hypercar.
We're calling these hypercars, for lack of a better word, because we're well over 700 horsepower, just extreme territory, extreme cost, extreme power, extreme performance. Supercar isn't a strong enough word. It's a hypercar now.
The 2000s were very prolific years in the hypercar world. Those years saw the birth of extraordinary vehicles, built by the premier designers.
Today, there are at least 30 cars that can break 321 kilometers per hour. The term hypercar distinguishes the truly high performance and exclusive from the merely out of reach.
I'd like to think that hypercars are more exclusive. What hypercars do differently is they make the whole experience special. The inside's nice, they're really crafted well, they're beautiful, they're not just there to go crazy fast.
At first, both Horatio and his Zonda are dismissed by critics, since the company has no track record.
When we first saw the Zonda, we all kind of thought, oh, that's interesting looking, we'll never see it.
While the Zonda shocks the world, its success shouldn't. Horatio Pagani has been beating the odds for a very long time. Born on the 10th of November 1955 in Argentina, Horatio builds his first race car at the age of 20. By 1983, his passion for speed brings him to Italy as the chief of engineering at Lamborghini. His crowning achievement is the Countach Evoluzione, the world's first car with a carbon fiber frame. Horatio sees lightweight carbon fiber as the future of the supercar genre. His bosses at Lamborghini disagree. So in 1991, Horatio leaves to start his own firm.
It takes a strong person to form a company and stick to what you want and make sure that the final product comes out looking like what you wanted it to with all the compromises inherent in engineering a car.
Horatio's vision is to do the impossible, start his own supercar company. A feat that doesn't happen very often in the automotive world.
Pagani has created a brand out of really nothing, and it's an amazing thing.
Pagani is a little bit more on the side of art and theater than perhaps some of the other titans of the automotive industry, but he's definitely one of them.
Exact figures are elusive, but in the brand's first 15 years of existence, they sell around 150 Zondas.
You're never going to see another Pagani at a red light next to you, and I think that's part of the appeal.
Those 150 machines only end up in the hands of the wealthiest individuals in the world.
Pagani exists in a really rarefied air. Only the richest guys in the world who really love cars have one of these.
Owning a Pagani not only requires tremendous wealth, but also an appreciation for the machine's styling.
Pagani has sort of carved out a niche in that world, and he's building his own thing, and his customers are sort of part of that vision now.
15 years after the machine's introduction, the Zonda is growing long in the tooth. And when you build only one model, that can spell financial disaster.
The biggest risk for Horatio Pagani is that people get tired of Paganis. He's got a very niche business. He's selling a small number of extremely expensive hand-built cars to extremely wealthy customers. And extremely wealthy customers can sometimes be very fickle.
With the Zonda aging, Pagani's ultra-exclusive customers clamor for a new machine.
I mean, you've got to have a follow-up act.
As the pressure for a Zonda replacement mounts, the question is whether or not Horatio Pagani's vision for greatness can strike twice.